Hello. The plan is to try to actually read an excerpt from one of my books every day this month, December, until Christmas. Don't know if I can do it, but I'm going to give it a try. So it's December 1st, and the book for today is Old Acquaintance. Old Acquaintance was my very first book, so it's really special to me. And it's about a woman called Anna Mason. I'll read to you from the first chapter. The letter that was to change Anna's life lay buried in the pile of yesterday's bills and flyers on the hall table. Anna was running late. She grabbed her bag, checking the contents of the bag while she donned her coat. Yes, everything was in there, all present and correct. A chuckle escaped her lips as she closed the door behind her, narrowly avoiding trapping her winter coat in the doorframe. All present and correct was one of her father's favourite sayings. He had passed away 20 years ago, but Anna thought, not for the first time, how the time-worn phrases of her parents lived on through her unconscious repetition of them. Bitter January cold startled Anna as she picked her way through ice and snow towards her Toyota. No point in rushing now and breaking a leg. Better a moment at the curb than a month in hospital, as her mother used to say. As a teen, Anna would sigh in disbelief when her parents came out with one of these antique sayings. Years later, she found out they were handed on from her grandmother in Scotland. Since Anna had never seen either her grandmother or Scotland, she was left with the distinct impression that both were somewhat outdated. With the car windows cleared of snow, she negotiated her way from the apartment building's parking lot through the subdivision side streets to join the inevitable post-snowfall traffic crawl. Nothing I can do about this now. I really must buy a cell phone. At least I could call ahead and warn Andrew I'll be late getting to the library. Anna knew she was a bit of a technophobe, and coping with a cell phone might be difficult. But in fact, there were few people in her life now who she needed to contact. Her brother Simon lived out west with his wife, 2 grown children and grandkids. She was only rarely a part of their busy lives. Still a single woman living alone, travelling around. She'd probably carry a phone as a safety precaution. Everyone seemed to have one. As she surveyed the lines of cars crawling toward a distant red light, Anna could see several people chatting or texting happily. The Toyota was warming up nicely now after its icy night outdoors. Thank heaven for small mercies, she thought, and instantly she was standing in her mother's kitchen as her mother delivered these hurtful words to a daughter who had just confessed that her marriage of 30 years was about to end. "What on earth do you mean by that, Mother?" Anna had gasped, her heart still thumping from having to make the dreaded confession. "Well, dear, I have always been thankful that you and that man never had any children. I can't say I'm sorry to hear about your divorce. You know how I feel about Richard. I'm only sorry it took you so long to realise I was right about him all along." A shiver went through Anna that had nothing to do with the weather outside the car. What was wrong with her today? Normally she could avoid thinking about the past. She usually tried to concentrate on positive events rather than the failures she had accumulated in almost 6 decades of living. Enough of this. Anna gave herself a mental shake and began to tally a checklist of the good stuff in her life. Yes, she lived in a small apartment since the divorce, but she was saving for a deposit on a darling little house on the outskirts of town where she could have a garden with the cats and dogs she had always loved. Her job at the library was part-time now, but she had a government pension that covered the basics and a small inheritance from her parents she had never touched. She was independent and needed no one's permission to do anything or go anywhere. She could watch television or read all night and snack on chocolate chip cookies to her heart's content if she so desired. She had a wonderful posse of girlfriends to call upon for dinners out with gossip for dessert, or movie nights followed by intensive analysis of the film over coffee and donuts. All in all, not such a bad life compared to a lot of other people these days. At last, Anna reached the front of the line of traffic and surged ahead as soon as the lights turned green. Green for go. Forward thinking. The future, not the past. It sounded like a useful mantra, so she repeated it all the way to work. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you'll check in tomorrow for another reading from another of Ruth Hay's books. Bye.